HarperCollins presents What Happens in the Dark by Abdullah. Read by Tania Rodrigues. Part 1. Chapter 1. Safa Salim hadn't come far in life, literally or otherwise. Her office, above a shabby Ladbrokes, was a mere 5 minutes from her childhood home, and not much further from where she lived now. She tried not to think about this fact as she walked up Mile End Road, dodging the greasy remnants of someone's kebab from the night before. The wind was fierce and blew grit into her eyes, so that anyone passing the other way might think that she was teary. They would be wrong, of course, because Safa Salim did not cry. She paused at a heavy black door next to the Ladbrokes and let herself into a narrow stairwell that smelled of stale beer and smoke. She took the stairs 2 by 2, keen for the heat of other bodies, but it was barely any warmer inside the newsroom. The whole of East London, it seemed, was nervously watching their heating bill. She took off her coat, a long, unstylish thing that crackled with static when she hung it. The air felt dry and electric, the sort that harboured colds and dried out her sinuses. She burrowed her face into her scarf and wrapped her hands around her flask of coffee. Her desk was near a draughty window that overlooked Mile End Road, the artery that connected grubby East London to better parts of the city. It was a far cry from her sleek former offices in St. James's Park. This, in comparison, barely felt like a newsroom, the pace too sluggish, and the space too sparse to indicate real import. She sipped her coffee, black and scalding, and scrolled through an influx of emails. She deleted a dozen press releases that had nothing to do with her beat, and then scanned anything loosely related. The reduction of fly tipping in Tower Hamlets, the community graffiti cleanup. She reminded herself, as she did daily, that these were the crimes that affected normal people. It couldn't all be multinational exposés and high-profile trials. Sometimes the small, incremental wins had the deepest impact. But still, for an investigative reporter, being booted to the East London Echo was like a drawn-out death, slow and exhausting. She cleared her inbox just as a new email landed. She felt a click of anxiety when she saw the name of the sender, Nick Rosenberg, General Counsel at the Clarion, the UK's most respected broadsheet, and Safa's former employer. It was a cease and desist letter, markedly less polite than the last. If Safa didn't stop harassing their employees, it said, they would refer the matter to the police. Anger flared in her chest. But one thing she had learned in this game was that she wasn't allowed a temper. She remembered the things they had called her: frantic, neurotic, deluded. They had taken the things that made her a good reporter, her persistence, her attention to detail, her ability to see the bigger picture, and turned them into embarrassing adjectives. She reread the email and spent a few minutes trying to word a suitable answer, but knew better than to do so in anger. She pushed away from her desk and reached into the bottom drawer. Like a compulsion, she pulled out a dark green binder. There was barely anything inside, but Safa had backed it all up regardless and kept 2 copies at home. That was a lesson she had learned the hard way. Hey, Safa," said a voice over her shoulder. She covered the green folder and turned to find Tim by her desk. Tim O'Leary was a reedy new graduate, fresh from City University, Safa's alma mater. He was unlike the other grads that swanned through here on their way to better internships at the Times or the Clarion. Tim, in comparison, lacked what one might call cultural polish. That subtle blend of
Sample complete. Ready to continue?